Hakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Batra Daf Peizayin Amud Aleph 87a1. We are right now, if you remember, we were speaking about Tashema. If you almost start from Pei Vav Amud Bet, on the bottom. So it's a new concept. Again, we're trying to bring a proof, right, that the Gemara is going to ask on Rav and Shmuel that they said that if a person comes and he says Kuru bishloshim and then Se'ah besela rishon kana. So basically, one more time. If I come in, I'm selling you 30 slaim for a kur, and a kur is 30 se'ah, and I'm selling it for 30 slaim. So translation is $1 per each one, right? $1 each or whatever, one selah per each. I'm just talking dollars, it's just easier. So therefore, if it's going to be $1 each one, very simple. But we said over there that as long as you didn't give the full 30, you could retract. Because since I told you it's 30 se'im, because I said a kur equals 30 se'im, for 30 slaim. So as long as I did not get to that amount, it's one sale. So therefore, as long as I didn't give you everything, I could retract on the sale, right?
You lose your money?
Well, no. You give it back. You get it back, but you could retract. Okay, you could retract. However, though, what happens if I came and I said, kur, which is again 30 se'im for the 30 slaim, then I said, kul se'ah lesela. So meaning I specified that it's one per one. So 30 pounds or whatever it is. So $1 per pound. I told it to you. I specifically said, there, rishon kana. Each one that he gives you, you acquired it. So if I gave you 1, you acquired 1. I gave you 10, you acquired 10. I gave you 29, you acquired 29. You cannot retract. You can retract on the last one, but you can't retract on 30, right? Meaning whatever I gave you. That's it. So now the Gemara is going to say, Tashema, 1 second. How could you come and you tell me that the second that you divided and you split it up, and you say that it's not only just a 30 for 30, but you said 1 per each one that you can retract. Let's see about Socheret HaPoel. You're getting a worker. Now it says over here, Socheret HaPoel asot imo legoren. So he's going to be working for you in the goren. Now what happens is, this is in the granary. Now what happens is that he tells him, Hayom bedinar. Now, right now, it's in Nisan. And the goren is going to start in Iyaro Sivan. Now he tells him he's going to pay him now in Nisan for the days that he's working, for the 30 days that he's working in the Goren. So one more time, when's he paying him? Nisan. But when's he working in Iyaro Sivan? Okay. Now says, Vela Goren Yafe Sela. Now what happens is, during the time of the Goren, what's the value of the work? 4 dinarim. He's paying him now 1 dinar. So therefore, you're not allowed to benefit. Why? It's like Rabbi. Why is it like Rabbi? Ribono Shalom. Very simple. When is he getting paid? Today. Today is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. When's he working? In Iyaro Sivan, next month. Now he's going to pay him for the full month in advance. But what is the value of the work? 4 dinar. What's he paying him? 1 dinar. No, he's only paying him 1. So therefore, what does it look like? It looks like you're giving him a loan and you're paying ribit. Because basically what's happening is that you're giving him today, which one? Yes, ribit. No, because it looks like ribit. Again, one more time. It's not 100% ribit. No, one more time.
For the discount? What is the reason
What?
for 3 dinars?
Because he's giving him the money from now. It's like right now, I'm going to tell you, listen, right? I'm going to pay you now. If I pay you up front, you're not only getting a 10% discount or, tuition, they give you a 2% discount, 3%. No. You're getting a 50% discount. Ooh. Very good. What? No. Because they fixed it before, but 1 minute. Yeah? So 1 second. With tuition, there's never a yeah?
Okay.
So what happens? So he comes and he says this. So he says, the fact that I'm coming and I'm giving it to you in such a fashion that I'm giving it to today, but I'm only paying you 1. And the real value is 4. So therefore, what's it considered? He comes and he says it's considered, it looks like a rebit. Need a rebit. It looks like a rebit. It's not real rebit because there's no halva'ah. There was no, but it looks like a rebit. So because it looks like a rebit, prohibited. Aval, however, though, im secharo me'ayom bedinar liyom. What happens if he came and he started the job today? For the same concept, dinar liyom. Vela goren yafe sela. But again, it's really worth a sela. It's going to be mutar. Why is it going to be mutar? Because I didn't pay you ahead of time. I'm paying you for, meaning you started work today. So there's no agdamat money. I'm not forking out the money beforehand in advance, advancing the money so that you're going to come, you're going to tell me, by the way, no. Nothing to do with it. So he says, if you're going to tell me now, so to hear, kama mifsak pasak. Yeah, the pasek wasn't loud enough this morning. Yeah, what does that mean? The second that we're going to say the first one, every single day is a pasek. Every single day is going to be that you stopped it, and therefore, what's going on then? So me'ayom dinar leyom velagorin yefes el mutar amai ve'agar nataliu. He says it's schar amtanat ma'ot, meaning again the schirut of the days in between. Since it's not chal daunat goren, so it comes out that he was magdim lo demaot. Because if you're going to tell me that it's all one paycheck, so even if I'm paying you now, I'm not advancing the cash. But if you're going to tell me every single day is a separate entity in itself, because I told you one per day, just like I told you before, one sela per, like $1 per pound. So therefore, I am giving you the money, and I'm advancing you the money, and therefore it's going to be a problem. So Amar Rava comes and he says, "Betizbera, are you going to tell me it's logical to say such a thing? Zilzule bischirut miasud." He comes and he says, and this is what David was saying before. 1 second. He's just coming and he's just ripping off. Yeah, exactly. You're just coming, which is normal in America, right? What do? You just come and you say, okay, fine. The big shot, he's going to be making the millions, right? And then the employee is going to be scraping the pot. Yeah. So what's the problem? Yeah. Yeah. So he comes and he says, Maishna Reisha, Umaishna Seifa. What's the difference between the Reisha and what's the difference between the Seifa then? Why? He comes and he says, why is it that in the Seifa, right, when the Poel is going to start today, it's mutar, and there's no problem of Rabbi. But then in the Reisha, we said that he's not starting today, there's a problem of Rabbi. Why? So he says, Reisha, teloka avid bahade mehashta. He's not working now. So the fact that he's not working now, it looks like it's aganata, meaning like this. It's true, the concept of ripping off an employee, you're right, it also exists in the Reisha. But the fact that you're coming and you're going to pay the guy from today, right? But he's not working for you for another month. That's why it looks like a bit. But Seifa, the fact that he's actually working for you for today, it doesn't look like the scharam tanamilot. Why? Because he already started the job. He started the job. You're going to come in. Okay, you're in the middle of the job. That's fine. There it doesn't look like. Fine. 2 dots. If you remember, we said that if right now something was mekubar lekarka and then you came and you uprooted this pishtan in order to acquire it, you acquired it. Why? Says the Gemara, mishum ditalash kol shu kana. This is what? You plucked out something, now you're a koneh, you did a kinyan. Rav Sheshet comes and he says, he comes, that he told him, Lech, yapelecha karka kol shu kni kol ma she'alea. Go, beautify the field, and by beautifying the field, you're going to acquire everything which is on top of it. So therefore, the fact that you're going to acquire everything which is on top of it, so therefore, right, that's why he's actually acquiring everything by the fact that he's beautifying the field. Yeah. There's the Mishnah, Mishnah Peizayin Mud Aleph. Hamochei yain v'shemen lechavero vehukru o shehuzlu. If you're going to come and sell, whether it's going to be yain v'shemen lechavero, right? So you're selling oil and wine to your friend, vehukru o shehuzlu, and went up in price or went down in price. If it didn't fill up completely, la mocher, it goes to the mocher. But once it gets completely filled, then it goes to the lokeach. Now, what happens if there's going to be a mitavech between them, meaning you've got an intermediary, right? There's a middleman that he's coming in the middle. Then and it breaks. So the one in the middle, he's one. I mean, basically, you have like the wholesale, you have the supplier, right? And then you have the actual store, whatever you want to call it, right? So the middleman, which is the sirsur, that's the middleman, he's the one that's going to lose out. Okay? So he says, right? You're obligated to come and to give to the lokeach, right? 3 tipin. Okay, that means after the yirui of the yain and shemen, whatever's left over, right? He comes and he says, you have to turn it upside down, basically, and you have to wait for 3 tipot into the kelim of the lokeach. Okay, now if afterwards, right, hirkina, right, which means after you already did the yirui, right, you're coming and you're doing these 3 tipot, you're going to be markina on the tzad, umetzit, and then you're just going to wait. So now all this belongs to the mocher. I mean, basically this. What always happens is you have the utensil, the receptacle, you come and you pour. When you finish pouring, you have to wait that there's going to be 3 drops dropping. Now, afterwards, many times what you could do is you could do like this, or you put it upside down, and then what happens? It actually comes out. That belongs to the mocher. Okay, so he says, The storekeeper does not have to do the shalosh tipin. Why? Because since he has to sell to so many people, the rabbis didn't obligate him to start coming and waiting for every single drop to come down. So therefore, he doesn't have to do this concept of the shalosh tipin. Rabbi Yehuda says, Erev Shabbat im chashecha patur. The same halacha would apply on Erev Shabbat im chashecha, even if you're a mocher. And there's not, since again, you're going to be pressured for time, so therefore you do not have this problem.
So only in this time, otherwise it would.
That's the Gemara. The Gemara says, Hamida deman. Who does the belong to? The measuring tool. You remember we spoke about already about the measuring, whether it's going to be a receptacle or a jug or whatever it is. Who does it belong to? Who's the one that belong to? If it belongs to the lokeach, why does it belong to the mocher? The second that it goes into his utensil, it's his. Right? So it's midah de lokeach. Ve'ela barada, midah de mocher has to be of the seller. So why is it midah lokeach? Why does it belong to the lokeach? Midah de mocher. It belongs to the mocher. Meaning, let's see, who does the receptacle belong to? If the receptacle belongs to the mocher, so even if it filled up to the top, there's no kinyan still done. It's still in my receptacle. So you have to do something. You have to do akba, meshicha, depends on what it is, right? But he says, but if it's going to be that it belongs to the lokeach, so it's done. The second that I put something inside, it's already done. I don't have to wait until it fills up. So Amar says, you're right. Mimidat sisur. It doesn't belong to either or. It's the intermediary. Okay? So says the Gemara, but since in the Seifa we learned, 1 second. From the middle part, which is the mitziata of the Mishnah, it's mashma that there was no sirisur. Because if the Reisha does not mention anything about a middleman, and all of a sudden now in the middle it says, and if there's a middleman, mashma that the Reisha, the former part of the Mishnah, there's no middleman. So there's no middleman. What are you talking about then? So answers the Gemara, Reisha b'midah below sirsur. The Reisha, we're talking about a midah without any sirsur, which means that the sirsur came and he lent the utensil, but he's not there. Meaning the guy, which is the middleman, he's not there to do business. Usually the middlemen, they're there to always do business. They want to take money in their thing. He just lent out the utensil. So it belongs, right, to a third party. Yeah, it belongs to a third party. It doesn't belong to them. Yeah, it belongs to the sisur, but he's not there making the money. It's very weird. You understand? Yeah, understand. 100%. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So he says, right? Reisha b'midah below sisur. The sirsurim, they always want to collect on the air that's on the how do you call the oxygen which is in the air. Fine. The seifa b'sisur atzmo. He says the seifa, we're talking about the sirsur himself. Okay. Fine. Next, 2 dots. We said that if you put it on the side and now it accumulates, that all belongs to the mocher. Kisalek Rabbi Elazar, when Rabbi Elazar came, right, he went from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, he went up, and he found Zeide, Amaleh, and he told them, Mikan Tana da'atni Rav Midot. Is there any in Eretz Yisrael a Tana, right, which Rav was learning, right, this entire concept, that is teaching the Midot, to do the Midot of the mocher and everything? So he comes and he says, Achve, he showed him Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi. So Amaleh, he says, what's the question on the Mishnah? He says the time was learned on the Mishnah, it belongs to the mocher. That's not, we learned in the Mishnah, 87b, we said, we learned in the Mishnah, which means in Masechet Truma, we learned that if you're going to come and you're going to do this, it belongs to Truma, which means even after the Shalosh Tipot, it's still going to be Truma. So why are we saying there, do not Truma, and you have to give it to the Kohen, and by Mechira, you don't have to give it to the Lokeach? Meaning we're comparing Trumot Masrot to Mekach Umemka. You come and you sell something. When you sell something, you have to wait for the 3 drops. After the 3 drops, you put it on the side, and now it accumulates, it belongs to you, to the seller. So why is it then, if I'm going to do the exact same case, but I'm not selling it, I'm giving it to Truma. So I come and I give to the Kohen, and even after the 3 drops, I come and I put it down, and afterwards it accumulates, it's still Truma. Why is it Truma? Just like by the sale, when I'm going to sell something, just like when I'm going to come and I'm going to sell something, right? I come and I want to sell it. So there, it belongs to me, it belongs to the seller, not to the buyer, not to the purchaser. So why is it that by Truma, I'm going to come and I'm going to say, no. When you're going to put it down and now I have it accumulate, it belongs to Truma. Why does it belong to Truma? It doesn't make sense. So Elmaleh comes to the answers. Ha'itman alai was already stated. He says, we're talking about Yush Balim. What does that mean? when you come and you sell, right, there's a big tircha to come and to wait until everything comes out. And therefore, because of this big tircha, right, the mocher is zoche that it belongs to him. But meikar adin be'emet, it's still shayach to the lokeach, right? So by the kohen, which means by truma, even if the kohen is going to be mityaesh, it's still a sur v'lezarim. Meaning like this, meikar adin, right? Even when I went and I did this and I put it on the side and it accumulates, it still belongs to the purchaser. But because of yush, which means that he's going to give up hope because it takes so long, and he's not going to wait all the. So what happens? Buyer, he takes it. But in another case, bemet, it belongs to the buyer, which means at the end of the day, it still belongs to the truma. Right, the next two dots. So we're going to ask the question: Is Yehuda going on the Reisha and therefore he's going on the Kula? Which means Yehuda came and he spoke about that a person's chayav latif shalosh tipin, and Yehuda argues on that Kula, and he says on Erev Shabbat, right, you don't even have to do that tafa. Or maybe it's going on the Seifa and it's going the Chumrah, which basically says that the Chenvani is not obligated to do it. And Rabbi Yehuda comes and he argues and he says, only on Erev Shabbat im Chashecha, you're not obligated to do it. But the rest of the week, you are obligated to do it. So we have a doubt. Is he going lekula or lechumra? What's he going back on? So Tashema de Tanya, we learned to bring a proof that we learned in a bright Rabbi Yehuda says, Erev Shabbat im Chashecha, Chenvanim patur, bimdeh shechenvanim tarur. Erev Shabbat im Chashecha, the Chenvani is going to be patur. Why? Because since the Chenvani is tarud, he's busy, so that's why he's going to be patur from coming and how do you call this? And putting right. He says only on Erev Shabbat he's going to be patur, but all the rest of the times he's going to be chayyam. Mishnah on Peizayin Amud Bet 87b. The Mishnah says the sholech beno etzel chenvani, right, and he's got money in his hands. So imagine right now you're going to send your small child to the chenvani in order to buy oil. Umadallo b'isar shemen. So he comes and he's going to measure, right, with the isar shemen, right, which is basically one isar, and he gives it into his hand. V'natan lo isar, right, now, which is even more than the pundion. Now shavaret tzlochit, on the way home, it broke the tzlochit. V'ibed the isar, and he got rid of the isar, meaning he lost everything. HaChenvani chayav, the chenvani is obligated to come to pay the father for the tzlochit, and the shemen and the isur al def. Well, why? Because since he gave it to a katan, which is not bardat, he doesn't know how to keep it. Yeah, he doesn't know how to keep it. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, "You're going to be patur." Shalmina ken shlachol. 1 second, but he sent him. Why did he send the child? So obviously, right? He sent the child, right? A katan, minor. Yeah. No, he says katan. It's beno katan. Yeah, he says, but he says 1 second, right? But obviously here, right? He sent him like that. Umodim chachamim. So the chachamim are going to be modeh, right? Rabbi Yehuda to Rabbi Yehuda. He's going to be modeh to Rabbi Yehuda. He says that what? He says that he comes and he says this. Bizman shatzochim biad hatinok umadad hachenvani letocha, right? Shechenvani patur. He's going to be patur. That means basically, if the tzlochit was already in his hands and then he measured everything in his hands, the chenvani is going to be patur, I guess, because the concept that the entire thing was in his hands from the beginning. Meaning he didn't do anything, basically. That's why he's going to be patur. Okay, even though he gave it back in the hands of the katan. Right? Interesting that at the beginning we brought down beno, and then afterwards we brought down the tinok. Yeah, but we're going to see now. Right, it says the Gemara. Bishlema b'yisar v'shemen. I understand by yisar and shemen. The Rabbanan, this is a machlok between them. Why? Rabbanan savre, the Rabbanan just told him leodu shadre. The father did not send the child in order that he should bring it back, that the child should bring it back, but only to tell the chenvani that he wants to buy it, and therefore he should send it in the hand of a shliach. Meaning he sent the child, but not that the child is the shaliach. He sent the child with the money, right? Or here it's in brackets, the pudyom or whatever it is. But he sent to the chenvani. And now what happens is that he just wants him to come and send it to him. But that's it. So Rabbi Yehuda Savar, Rabbi Yehuda says, L'shadur l'shadre. Says no. Right? He sent him in order to send it back. And therefore he's going to be patur from achriyut. Ela tzlochit. But what is the svara of the tzlochit? Aveda midati. You're doing it purposely. What does that mean? If I'm going to come and I'm going to give, right, a 4-year-old, I'm going to give them something expensive. I'll give them a phone. And the 4-year-old comes and he breaks it. What's that considered? Aveda midat. You destroyed it. Why is it you destroyed it? Because you're giving it to the hand of a child. What are you doing? And therefore it's considered right? He comes and he says, Ikilu, you're destroying it. What? The father. Okay? So therefore the question is, why in the world then is the Chenvani going to be chayav on the tzluchit if the father made it like hefker? If the father gave it to a child, it's like Kilu, he made it hefker. So then why are you going to be chayav? So Amar Rav comes and he says, Hacha bebalabait umocher tzluchit askinan. Here we're talking about a bait and that we're selling the tzluchit. Meaning this guy, the balabait, he actually sells tzluchiot. Right? Ugon, for example, shenetla chenvani amenal levakra. So what happened was the chenvani took it in order to check it, right? To check if it's full or not, like to check if it's good, right? And after he was chazarbo and he didn't want to buy it, then he gave it back to the hand of the katan. Well, the Shmuel is just like Shmuel. The Shmuel says, "Hanotel kli min uman al levakro." If you're going to take a kli from the uman to check it, and then nas biyado, and then there was an ones, you're going to be chayav. Meaning, for example, I come and I'm going to take from you, I don't know what, this, whatever this is, whatever, some type of a screen, right? And then I take it. And I'm going to say, should I use it? Should I buy it? I'll buy it. You know what? I'm not going to buy it. And all of a sudden, when I'm going to try to give it back, it gets destroyed. What happens? Says Zalacha, I'm chayav. Why am I going to be chayav? Because that's Zalacha. He says, if you know there was an onus, there's the fact that you took it, it's ki'ilu that you're taking with achrayut until you're going to take it. So he says, Lema de Shmuel Tanai. So why don't I just say this is actually Machloek Tanai, right? So he says, Ella, Rabbi said, Hacha, we're talking about Bechenveni Mochet Suchiot Eskinan, the Azab Yudel Tameh, Rabbanan Tameh. That means each one is going according to the reason. Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says that it's going to be Patur, right? The Chenveni is going to be Patur to give back the Mitzluchit. He's going to Shitato to do what he said in the Shemin, that the father had the covenant to give it to their child, and therefore he's going to be Patur because basically he just got rid of it. And the rabbis go according to the reasoning that they also say the covenant the father was just to inform the guy that he wanted to sell, that he wanted to buy, to purchase the oil or the what's it called, the shemen or the what was it? Right? He comes and he says he just wanted to buy this, and he comes and he says in such a case, right? He doesn't have this. Okay.
Meaning you didn't want to buy it.
So he says, "Ima seifa." So let's see the seifa then. Modim chachmin Rabbi Yehuda. Chachmin are going to be moded to Rabbi Yehuda. Bizman shatzluchit biyad hatinok umi umadad chenvani letocha. Now what happens is though that the seifa says the chachamim they agree to Rabbi Yehuda that in the case where the tzluchit is already in his hand and the chenvani actually measured it inside of it and then the tinok took it, the chenvani is going to be patur. Why? He says one second. If your svara is that you should never give it in the hands of a child. What do I care whether the child had it in his hand the entire time, or I took it out of the child's hands, I filled it up, and then I give it back to him? What's the difference? At the end of the day, it was only just to let him know. So says the Gemara, they both said, what are we dealing with? You took it to measure it, and like Rabba. But Rabba comes and he says, Hikisha, which means if you hit the animal with a makel and you cause the animal to go, you're already chayav in the ashvata, which means you're already chayav, right, in the concept of that it's yours, kilu, meaning that now you have the hashavat aveda, that kilu, now that you took it in your hand, now you're obligated to give it back directly to the father. If it was never in your hand, you just put it in, okay, that's it. He brought it to you, you put it inside, you didn't do anything, that's fine. The second that you took it out of his hands, it's your responsibility now to make sure that it gets back to the father in one piece. That's the entire concept.